All right, we're recording now. Let's go live. What is up, friggin' Facebook world? What's up, you guys? Happy Friday, Junior. As usual, Crystal here with the greatest, Coach Liz, on a Friday, Junior. I see you rocking that cute little Free People knockoff tank. Love, love.
Bright it is. It makes me happy.
Yeah,
I love how bright.
Totally. Was that an Amazon find? Remind me. Amazon? Is that where you got it? Oh, Liz, are we going to play this game with your Wi-Fi again today? You guys, this is so exciting. So Liz had crappy Wi-Fi the other day when we were meeting. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, as I was saying, Liz, before you were so rudely interrupted on your Wi-Fi, which PS, yesterday I had no Wi-Fi for 30 minutes and it was the longest 30 minutes of my life. Was that top from Amazon?
No, it's from Target.
Ooh, even better. Better. Okay.
Target. Right. It's only $18 or something like that.
Okay, I like it. Well, beautiful. Well, I'm going to be doing a Amazon to Lulu comparison from some workout clothes that I got from the Amazon Prime Day shit last week, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. I'll probably be putting it on my stories later today or something, but that's not why we're here. This is not why we're here. We want to be chatting about carbs. You guys know this is one of my favorite topics, right? I asked here in this group last week, or rather, it wasn't even an ask. I just put a code up or a card up and I was like, carbs don't make you fat. Agree or disagree? Got some decent answers, most people understanding that carbs are not the thing that makes anyone fat, but got interesting answers where I am seeing that people still don't effing understand that there is no such thing as a good food or a bad food. I understand kind of what you mean. I totally get it. I'm not dense. I understand what people mean when they think of good food, bad food, but we have got to get rid of that language. I know Liz will give us some great knowledge bombs on why our language is so important when it comes to the way we speak about our foods, our fitness, our bodies, and all that. But first off, I want to read through some of the answers that I got. Somebody said, I used to say yes, but now I know the good carbs don't. Ooh. Ugh. So again, we put that word in there saying that there's such a thing as a food being good or bad. Okay. Next, we got agree. In my opinion, some carbs are good. However, most people today overeat them, and that's when you gain weight/fat. Who doesn't love a big piece or two of bread and butter and pasta? You just have to be smart about when and how much to eat. I like that, right? We're still talking about that. We still have that halo effect or devil effect of good or bad, but I love the rationale that this person gave. Somebody else says depends on the carbs you're eating. Carbs are good for you if you're working out and have a well-balanced diet. If you're only eating carbs, then yes, bad. Portion control is key. And I would have to say, yeah, if you're only eating carbs, that's not a vibe, you guys. You need to also be eating fats and proteins, but we'll get into that here. And then somebody else says, agree. Not one thing makes you fat. It's the amount consumed. Correct? She put a question mark in there. She's like, I'm pretty sure I know what the hell I'm talking about, but confirm with me. And I decided not to confirm or deny what anyone was saying because I wanted to have this chat with Liz. And then a couple more. It depends on what carbs, how much you eat, and what else your diet and life includes. Somebody else, I have a hard time with this. I always thought, yes, it does, but slowly learning it doesn't in moderation and specifics, which again, hard time realizing what is okay and not. I stay away from all, but I should have something except if hidden within fruit. And then agree if you're getting your carbs from vegetables, but disagree if you are loading up on processed carbs like bread and pasta. Ooh. I know I read through a lot of that there, but Liz, does anything stand out to you from those responses we got from people?
We legitimately do not have enough time to talk about carbs.
No, we don't. We're going to try to keep it as short as we can though, you guys.
I know where everybody's heart is coming from. And I know that a lot of people, we aren't taught nutrition in school. We're not taught oh, hey. And the way that I talk about carbs with my clients is that there's good, better, best.
Ooh, okay.
There's really no bad carbs. I eat oats, I eat pasta, I eat Oreos, I have ice cream, I have bread, tortillas, all of that is still good. Would it be better if I paired that with vegetables and stuff, and I had vegetables with some of those things, absolutely. Best would be having vegetables, some potatoes, things that are on the lower glycemic index, where it's going to take longer and has some fiber to digest in my body, so I stay fuller longer.
Yeah.
The only bad carbs are the ones that, one, you are allergic to, or two, you physically cannot digest. Those are the only bad carbs. So I only look at carbs as like good, better, best. And carbs, honestly, whether they're processed or if they come from a vegetable, they turn into sugar into your body. I legitimately do not give a flying F what we were taught or anything. If you eat a fruit and if you eat a vegetable, it still turns into sugar into your body. It turns into glucose in your body, which is, either stored as glycogen or it's used immediately as energy. So no matter what we eat, that's what it turns into.
Yeah,
So.
I will love that last part about like it all breaks down into sugar, right? That's just what it does inside your body. All the carbs, it doesn't matter if it's fruit or vegetables or potatoes or bread or English muffins or pasta or oats, the healthy versus unhealthy, whatever. It all breaks down to be the same thing, and it all is a form of energy. So like, why would we demonize a form of energy, you guys? Why would you say, oh, I can't have carbs? Oh, you can't have energy? Like, I don't understand. You don't deserve to like have energy, have optimal functioning bodies, have bodies that can perform well in your workouts or just in day-to-day life for like mental cognition. Like, what is up? Why do you think like you don't deserve energy? So when I hear people saying like they're cutting out carbs or they're going keto or whatever, I'm like, why? Why would you do that to yourself? Like, can you name like any sort of negative side effects that somebody might experience, Liz, if they were consuming too low of carbohydrates?
Too low, guess what? Brain fog. You're gonna have muscle waste because you can't repair your muscles. Most of the time when people go on like extreme diets where they cut out carbs and stuff, they're losing muscle mass. And it's like 20 to 30%, I think, of muscle mass is their weight loss. Versus if you do eat carbs, then it's only like, if you're losing fat and stuff, it's 0 to like 5%. Yeah. I was just reading on this yesterday because I had somebody that was like, hey, like, I want to cut out carbs. And I'm like, no.
You're on the wrong team. Because no,
exactly.
Get off of our team.
You're not going to be able to sleep. You're going to have shit energy. You're not going to be able to build muscle. You're going to miss out on so many micronutrients because guess what? Fruits and vegetables are freaking carbs.
Yep.
Guess what? You're going to have increased, just like the sciencey side of it, increased free radicals in your body. Because guess what gets rid of free radicals? Antioxidants. Where do you get antioxidants from? Fruits and vegetables. So your chances of, and it's not that like nutrition causes cancer, but it helps prevent cancer and like do like other things in your body. So when, we learned about like our cells and our mitochondria and stuff, when you're not eating carbs, guess what? You're physically, to your cellular level are not going to have energy. You keeping up with kids running around or you keeping up with your job isn't going to happen. You're going to be freaking grumpy. You're going to miss out on those carbs and your skin's going to suck. So
yeah, not a vibe, you guys. Doesn't sound fun. And so I know like, I understand the allure of one, cutting out carbs. So let's talk about that real quick, where people like go into keto or they say they're going keto. Usually when I see people going keto in this day and age, it means they're eating like some meat, some nuts, some butter, some bacon, and they're eating like these highly processed, super palatable keto treats that they buy at the store instead of like actually following a keto diet, which is not to be buying a bunch of overly processed crap. Like we could go down a whole rabbit hole about people telling me they're vegan or vegetarian and they don't eat any fucking vegetables. They just eat things that are like labeled as vegan. I'm not going to do that today because I will go off. It sends me in a dark place, you guys. But like when you are cutting out carbs, why you see such a dramatic weight loss is because Well, no, it was because you're cutting out the thing that holds on to water. Carbohydrate. It has the word hydrate in it. They hold water. So when you have carbohydrates, they hold on to water. That's what they do. Is it like every gram of carbohydrate, your body holds like 2 to 3 grams of water, I think is what the breakdown is. So you dramatically lose weight. You're not losing fat. You're losing water. And eventually, if you keep that up, you're losing water, you're losing muscle, you're losing like important things that you need if you actually want to look lean, toned, and defined. So losing weight and losing fat, two totally different things. And you're going to start eating carbs again. And guess what? The weight comes back on.
Ooh. I have to say one thing about keto, just because I feel like it's been popping off a lot more. Like, it's just like we went into like this lull on social media of like, I haven't heard of it. And now I keep hearing like, oh my gosh, I'm going to start keto. Hey, Liz, what do you think about keto? So recently, I think like a month ago, 2 months ago, it was officially published on, it's an academic journal, and people who do keto have a higher risk of heart disease because of the quality of fat that they're ingesting. They're not ingesting good fats, like eating good lean fish, or, making sure that their diet is almost like Mediterranean-esque, where they're having good oils and, good cheeses. They're having Colby Jack cheese, and they're eating bacon, and they're cooking in bacon grease. And it's not saying that you can't have those things, but limit it. All these people are doing is eating the shit, like highly processed, highly palatable. Somebody on my Facebook was like, oh yeah, I take coconut oil multiple times a day, which I know people do that, and their coconut oil is not great for you at all. It is not a good source of fat. I would much rather somebody do that with olive oil or something else, but coconut oil is terrible for you, or eating like meat fats and stuff, like, and doing it consistently, and that's the only thing that you're eating.
Yeah.
It's just highering your cholesterol, which, by the way, you guys don't need extra cholesterol. Our body naturally makes it, in case anybody was wondering.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so one thing that's important that I want to point out, the whole topic here, you guys, is like good versus bad carbs. Did you hear Liz say good versus bad fats? Okay. There really is, again, when it comes to carbs, good, better, best. There isn't anything inherently bad about carbs. I would have to say when it comes to fats, there are actually good and bad fats. Would you agree, Liz?
Yeah. Well, and I should say that you should have more of certain fats than other fats. Right. You should have less of some and more of others. So fats that are high in omega-3s that have that anti-inflammatory effect. When you have more fats, such as like those cheeses or meat fats, things like that, that can cause adverse effects when you have too much of it and not enough of the others.
Right. And so again, there's like a hierarchy. There's like better fats for you. There's fats you should have less of. I would say things like trans fats, like we really shouldn't be having. Like there's no need for it.
So I think it's only like 7 to 15% is what it, and you can't avoid it. It's in close to everything. You have a piece of steak, you're going to have trans fats. Mm-hmm. So I would say 7 to 10% of your total fats, and your total fat should be around 25 to 30% of your overall calories, should be 7 to 10% trans fats. The rest of them should be, again, more like omega-3s, better quality oils, things like that.
Yeah. And that's really just to help with better heart health, you guys, because you're going to get those trans fats from, really, like Liz said, they're kind of unavoidable, but you're going to get a ton of them from those overly processed foods again. You'll see labels that'll say like trans fat free or something. And of course, learning how to read a nutrition label is super important so that you can tell like how much trans fats are in something. But again, we're not talking necessarily about fats today. I just wanted to make sure I pointed that out, because we did talk about the fact that like it isn't like a good versus bad when it comes to food. It's about like what's really good, better, best, and what should you be minimizing in your diet, and what should you be trying to sort of maximize in your diet. How can you optimize your diet? And when I say diet, I am not referring to losing weight. I am referring to your diet being the way that you incorporate nutrition in your day-to-day life, you guys. Your diet might be dog shit and your diet might be amazing. Like, it just is what it is. I'm not talking about being in a calorie deficit, which is a way of losing weight. So anyways, okay. So what else? I kind of want to read through. I've got some notes here on carbs. Like, I'm just going to talk about some of the bullet points we've got here. So really, they're amazing for fueling your body. They, like Liz said, they get broken down into glucose, which is the fuel for your cells, which is of course important if you want to be able to like function properly. So when you get enough carbs in your system, you're going to probably have a better workout. Like, I think a lot of us can identify with some time when we've gone and we've had maybe a little of an overindulgent meal. Like, maybe we went and brunched really hard, or we had like an awesome like pasta dinner or something the night before or whatever. And like the next day you're like, damn, I ate a lot yesterday and I am feeling like fucking phenomenal in this workout. I'm throwing up heavy weights. I'm feeling energized. Like, that's not a coincidence, you guys. That's from giving your body enough fuel to perform really well. What else when it comes to like workouts and carbs? I know, Liz, you've got some breakdown for them. So do you have any suggestions on how people can incorporate carbs if they want to really maximize their workouts?
So with carbs, if you want to maximize your workouts, you can get like an intra workout carb. So it's a simple carb. You can get it in liquid form. You can eat freaking gummy bears. Like that's why people will see like powerlifters when we're doing like, or like Olympic weightlifters, or we're doing like really quick work and we need to put out the most energy. Carbs, even recovering after your workout, you should have a 2-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein, just to replenish your glycogen stores, which the reason why you want to do that is so that when you're working out, you are tearing your muscles, and filling those muscle tears with glycogen stores means that it's going to heal and repair itself. So I'm trying to find
some fun stuff to go along. Well, you let me know when you find. The next bullet point I want to touch on is brain boosting. So like, your brain, it loves glucose, you guys. And again, where do we get glucose? We get it from carbs. So when you give yourself those carbs, this is when you're going to have good mental cognition. You're going to not have that brain fog like Liz was talking about earlier. Your concentration is better. Your memory is better. So they talk about like the keto flu and stuff. When people get rid of carbs, like, yeah, you're crashing. Your brain is not functioning as properly as it would be if you were giving it the fuel that it needed. Did you find what you need yet?
So carbs are fuel for our brain and our CNS system. So if anybody ever like just feels overall like achy, or feels like, oh, I have hormone issues, stuff like that, guess what? You're not eating enough carbs.
Weird. So weird. Okay. So then that's something. What would you say is enough carbs? Like, what's too low? What's too high? Is there such a thing? What should the average person be aiming for? Is there a certain amount?
So depends on the person.
Thank you. There you go. It always depends, you guys.
I try to have like minimums for people. So like women who we mostly coach, if we're trying to optimize everything, or if they're going through like hormone problems or anything and they're not eating 150 grams of carbs, then that's not enough. Especially because I get so many people that are like, oh my gosh, my hormones are out of whack. All of this is crazy. And it's honestly, you're not eating enough food. It's not your hormones. You are physically doing this to yourself. And to support your hormones, to support your nervous system, to support your brain, you need at least 150 grams of fat, just like, or carbs. Just like I don't want people to go under really like 45, 50 grams of fat. So
yeah. Again, the answer is that it always depends, you guys. But just to give you a little bit of context around there, she said 150. She didn't say 50. She didn't say 75. She didn't say anything less than 100. So somewhere around that 150 mark is probably a good, safe place to be at for most of us. Are there going to be times when they're going to get cut lower? Probably, like depending on if you're in like a pretty steep deficit and your body can support that. But that's why, like with us, with our clients, like they have weekly check-ins so we can make sure, like, how are things going? Do we need to tweak things? Do we need a refeed where we up your carbs? And I think that here's the thing. When people say they're cutting out carbs and, oh, they did cut out carbs and they lost a lot of weight, they're not talking about fruits and vegetables and grains and beans and legumes. They're talking about highly processed, hyper palatable carbs and fats. And if you go look at those things that you're cutting out when you go through one of these phases, it's not that you're cutting out a ton of carbs. You're likely cutting out a ton of, again, a combination of carbs and fats. Fats are more than twice as calorie dense as carbohydrates. For every gram of carbohydrate you consume, you get 4 calories. For every gram of fat you consume, you get 9 calories. So if you're cutting out pizza, that's not a carb. It is probably at least 50% fats, calories coming from fats in that pizza. If you cut out donuts, if you cut out candies and just all the like overly processed stuff that you can think of that you would give up in one of these dieting phases or whatever, go read the nutrition labels and find out, are more calories coming from fats or are more calories coming from carbohydrates? So then you can stop lying to yourself and stop saying you're cutting out carbs. It's just not happening 9 times out of 10. You are cutting out hyper palatable, overly processed shit that is really easy to overindulge in and eat an excess amount of calories. Because when you put carbs and fats together, those mother effers taste good. There is a reason they are so addicting. Once you pop, you cannot stop.
The one thing also is that when people cut out carbs or they start this very dramatic transformation, like, oh my gosh, yes, it worked. And I'm like, well, yeah, you literally just 360'd your whole life.
Yep.
You started working out, you cut out all of the food, and now you're eating the most boring shit ever. Of course, you're going to see some weight loss. Of course, you're going to see XYZ. And the problem is that it's not sustainable. Like, do you want to never eat bread again? Do you never want to eat a delicious tortilla again? Do you never want to eat, a fruit again or anything like that? Like, no. And then half of these, people don't realize that, like, do that, we're causing us to be like malnourished. And then, like, again, back to lab work, like our red blood cells only use carbs as a fuel source. What do you need red blood cells for? Energy, ATP, all of that. So you just living on your day-to-day life, you're not going to be able to do it. So that's why people don't last long on like keto or, cutting out all the things.
Right. Because it's not sustainable, you guys. And so that's the thing. When it comes to like us and our coaching, we are carbs and consistency for a reason. We believe you should eat carbs. We believe you should have consistency if you want to reach your goals. And so when Liz talked about like, okay, you did like a total 180, you were this person, now you're doing this person, everything's the extreme opposite of what you used to. Guess what? If you truly want to like change your life and change your physique and actually live in a body that feels healthy and happy and vibrant and like you look good and you feel good and all the things, you're going to have to change. Like, I don't understand what people can't figure out, that like you literally have to make changes if you want to change. But with us, we're trying to do it in a sustainable manner where you're changing things here and there. We're tweaking along the way. And then all of a sudden you're incorporating all these new habits that have pushed out some of those like less desirable habits, right? So instead of having your morning bagel and coffee from the Starbucks drive-through, instead you're starting off the day with like some egg muffins or a bowl of oatmeal with a protein shake, right? Like you're doing things that are definitely different, and we're not asking you to change every last thing about you. It's just, you got to compromise. You got to have some give and take, because we want to make sure you can still have some of those other fun things you have. Like, to me, it'd be much more worth it to skip the bullshit bagel and latte every day and still have like pizza night with my family on the weekend, or still go out for girls' nights with my girls on Tuesday, right? Like, have that balance And it doesn't have to be the all or nothing, the extreme, oh, I used to be this person and now I'm this person. You might get to that point where eventually, maybe you're like me 10 years later, you're like, holy shit, how am I the same person? But in a good way, right? I didn't feel like I had to give up anything. I was actually excited to stop being an alcoholic. I was actually excited to learn how to cook food and stop eating out for every single meal and wasting a bunch of money and calories and just feeling like dog shit, you guys. So again, it's a slow process, but it's so worth it in the end when you feel like you didn't have to go all or nothing. You didn't have to deprive yourself of making memories and actually enjoying food, because we truly do believe food is worth being enjoyed and celebrated. But just being so restrictive or just saying, I'm never going to do this again, it's just not realistic.
No. And I think like people wanting to change, they don't. And I think it's hard for everybody when they first start this journey and like doing things slow. 1, it's not sexy. 2, it's not extreme. 3, they hit a point where they're mourning. They're actually grieving the old them and the old lifestyle, because they're realizing like, oh shit, like these people that I'm surrounding myself with, they're not helping me. And so your whole life is now changing. And the people that you were associating yourself is changing. The things that you do for fun, they're changing. Like I look back at old me and I'm like, holy shoot, like what? Like I am not the same person at all. And my friends that I had then when I was heavier are not the same people now. And even when I do see them, we have nothing in common. And they are still in the same spot. And they're like, oh my gosh, Liz, like you changed so much. I'm like, yeah, that's the point. We're growing, we're thriving, like we're doing the dang thing. So I think a huge part of it is that people do grieve that and then they miss it, or they don't have the support or tell people what they want. So they, again, go back to their old habits.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard. If you don't change your environment, how are you going to change your habits? And oftentimes changing your environment involves finding a new set of people that are more aligned with you and your goals and whatnot. So I think that's huge. All right. I did see one comment come in. She said, food, in my opinion, is fuel. I earn my carbs, but I start my day with protein. Like, I love that. Yes, food truly is fuel. And like we said before, food is also worth being celebrated. It's also worth like enjoying and everything. And I used to be that person that was like, food is just fuel. It really isn't, right? Like food is connection, food is emotion, food is relationships. But when we can start to break down food and understand what it does for us, I think that's amazing. So looking at it, it's like, oh, food is fuel for my workout. Food is fuel for me to play with my kids or my grandkids. Food is fuel for me to be an awesome employee and like do the things I need to do every day. Yes, it is that, but it's also something that should be celebrated when it's worth being celebrated. But to me, I'd rather celebrate with like a date night with my husband than running through the Chick-fil-A drive-through because I had shitty planning on a Tuesday and like, oh, well, I'm just going to eat all the things because I didn't do anything. And, oh, I don't care if it aligns with my nutrition goals. And, oh, I know I'm going to feel like shit after this. Like, again, breaking food down for what it truly provides you and how it can work against you if you're not intelligent about it, I think it's super important. So anyways, Liz, oh, did you have a follow-up on that?
The only thing that I want to say is, and I don't know who commented that or anything, you did not earn your food. We don't earn our food. Yes. That is the biggest thing that I see people say, like, oh, I had this really hard workout, I earned a pizza, or I earned this beer. Like, absolutely the F not. If you wanted a pizza, go eat a freaking pizza. You don't need to earn it. That's just, again, that's our diet culture. But you did not need to earn your food. You do not need to earn your carbs. Eat good food. Eat, have a good variety of the good, better, best at all of your meals. Make sure you're getting in enough fiber. Make sure you move your body a little bit. Get some sunshine in the morning and in the evening time. And, plan. Treat yourself like a freaking toddler.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't set your kid up for success for the day, guess what? It's going to be freaking chaos. You're doing the same thing to yourself and you're causing distrust and hate in yourself. So
totally. I love that. I'm glad I like kind of spaced that just because I was looking at something else. I was distracted, but I have actually like an Instagram reel / TikTok that's all about like, you didn't earn your food. And it has like over 200,000 views on TikTok. And that's where the trolls like to light me the fuck up because they don't know what they're talking about. But on there, I literally say that because I used to be a coach who said that. I'd be like, let's earn those margaritas. Let's earn our chips and salsa. Let's earn that brunch date tomorrow. Like I used to have that kind of language. And there are other coaches at the Orange Theory that I worked at that would say the same shit. There were Peloton instructors in the classes that I would take that would say the same shit. They'd say we have to earn our food or we have to burn off our food. And so I know that language is very prevalent in the fitness community still to this day. And that is why I speak upon it. And that's why I'm so glad you brought it out. So with that, the last thing I'm thinking we'll close out with is, can you talk about the language that goes around, like how this impacts us when we label foods as like good versus bad?
And when we say, so one, you're demonizing it. Two, if you're saying, oh, this is bad, I can't have this, what are you going to think about 24/7? I took like a culture class, and this has nothing to do with nutrition, but the mindset around it is just like food. And so it's like when you tell somebody that you don't believe in something, you're going to hyperthink about that. There's no facts behind it. So same thing with food. You're going to hyperthink about it. That's all. If I tell you, Crystal, you can't have espresso margaritas or martinis ever. They're bad for you. Can't do it. What are you doing here?
Yeah. I'm going to think about it. I'm going to want it.
Exactly. And then when you do have it, you're going to feel freaking guilty about it. And then that self-talk that comes after that is awful. We are so mean to ourselves.
Totally. But here's the one thing I want to say about that. When it comes to somebody being told by their doctor, by their fitness coach, by whatever, like, hey, you should try cutting out alcohol because you have some sort of a disease and alcohol doesn't make you feel bad, or sorry, alcohol doesn't jive well with that. Like, let's cut it out and see what it does. And then you refuse to do that. That's some bullshit, because alcohol is a poison. It is a legal poison. Everyone on this earth could survive without alcohol and you would be just fine. So if Liz told me like, hey, Crystal, like it's going to make your disease a lot worse if you don't cut it out, or it's going to kill you sooner if you don't cut it out, guess what? To me, it would be worth it to cut the fucking espresso martini out.
Exactly. But that goes with like, hey, there's good, better, best. And then there's, hey, if it's bad for you, don't freaking do it. Yeah. If you have a dairy allergy, don't freaking eat dairy. If you are celiac, why the hell are you eating not gluten-free things? Like,
right. Yep.
So it's just like that. If it's bad for you, don't have it. If it hurts your stomach, don't have it. If your doctor says, hey, you should do XYZ, and you intentionally go against that because you just want to be rebellious or like, whatever, pish posh, like, please tell me how many people that do that live long, successful, healthy lives.
Yeah.
None.
Yeah.
None.
If you feel like shit, if you don't look as good as you'd like to, and you know you're putting things in your body that you shouldn't be on a very regular basis, well, let's go back to that, right? It's probably not your hormones. It's probably not menopause. It's probably not, oh, I should or shouldn't have gluten or whatever, unless the doctor has told you like you have this thing and you shouldn't have it. It's probably check what you're just choosing to like put in your body. Is it too much alcohol? Is it too much processed foods? Is it going out to eat too often? Is it the fact that like you just don't ever have fruits and vegetables and lean protein, right? So many factors. But anyways, so let's close it out with, you guys, there is really not such a thing as like good or bad foods. There's good, better, best. And if we're going to say something is bad for it, it's for us, it's because it's bad for you as an individual based on how your body responds to it. I think that kind of sums it up. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. Well, thanks so much, everybody. We tried to keep this as concise as possible. I think I have some ideas for what we could chat about next week, but Liz and I will be meeting after this to discuss that. The rest of you have an amazing rest of your Friday, Junior. Drop those questions below. I do have a comment that I posted where if you guys want to learn more about carbs and protein and fats and calories and like a ton of things, we just rolled out our 30 days of free coaching. So what it is like a daily email sequence where like every day we're going to teach you on one of the topics that we know is going to help you on your health, fitness, and your health and fitness journey. Okay. So like I said, we're always here to educate as best as we possibly can. If you have more things you want to learn from us or topics that you would like for us to discuss, we're here for you. You just got to let us know. So have an amazing rest of your day. Chat soon.
Bye.